Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah. In this video I'm going to explain how to use the Vocab Excel sheet that comes along with the QuranTM file. The Vocab sheet can be used independently to make your own vocabulary cards, but it just becomes a companion for the QuranTM file. So I'm going to double click on Vocab to open it, and I'm going to draw your attention down to the right hand corner. There are three sheets that come. There is the menu sheet, which if I click on there, and this is really where the whole flashcard program works. Then you have a number one sheet, which is a kind of standard sheet. It gives you ideas on what type of words you should be recording. I'm just going to increase the size to 100%. And the actual sheet number two. If you want to create a new sheet, just right click and copy, create copy, press OK, and it usually makes a sheet right at the very end. And then if you just drag it to the left and put it there, because this is a right to left Excel spreadsheet, and give it the number 3, then if you record any, and then you can delete the words that you have in the previous sheet, and you can start from scratch. Okay, and whenever you record words from the QuranTM file, it records it in the last sheet. So if it's number 2, it'll record at number 2. If it's number 3, it'll record at number 3. So I'm just going to delete number 3 for the moment. Okay, so let me go back to here. Let's just quickly go. There are various columns: A, B, C, D, E, H, I, J. I'm not too sure what's happened to F anyway. And what you do is you type the Arabic word that you want to memorize in the B column. And when you click the record vocab, it recorded the words that were in the yellow here. So I clicked on, remember if you look here in the Excel spreadsheets for which I was showing you or demonstrating, I had highlighted Bismi, Ar-Rahman and Alameen. So with Bismi it recorded Bismi, Ar-Rahman and Al-Alameen in that order. Not only does it record that, it also records the translation. So it records the cell below in the name of surah and the root letters, and in the J column, and it records the context in which it occurred. The fonts may need to be adjusted here, so just bear that in mind. At the moment it's set to traditional Arabic, but as I said, using the other font is better. Arabic typesetting, I think it looks much neater and is much more readable. So I could probably highlight the whole thing and just change this to Arabic typesetting, which I think it's well, it should look better, but it's a bit small, so I'm just going to increase it in size so it looks a bit better. Well, I'm not too sure that looks better, but anyway, I've done that. Right, perhaps I should undo all that. Right, back to here. So you can play around with the size to whatever suits you. So how do you actually utilize this? Look here, there's a column called I and the memory scores. You can reset the memory scores. The default memory score is 0. Now let me explain how this works. So if I go to the menu, this is where you do your memorization. The first thing you need to do, as I said, you have to activate macros. So if you have 2010, it'll ask you to enable macros. If not, it's the Windows button, Excel options, Trust Center settings, macro settings, make sure that's clicked, and then click on enable all macros and just press OK. Okay, right, once you've done that, what you do is you need to load the sheets, the words you want to test yourself on, and you have to enter the sheet number. So we're going to load the words on sheet number 2. So I click on this cell and I type the number 2, then I press enter to come out of that, and I want to start with the word number 1. Okay, so I'm going to change that to 1. I'd like to display the English meaning, and then I'm going to load the sheet. So it has a bit of a whir and loads the sheet, and the first word comes up is Bismi. So that's the word, and if I click answer, it will display the meaning, and I mark myself. But before I answer it, suppose I didn't remember it, so I want to remember the context in which I had seen the word, I click on clue. And so it goes Surah Al-Fatiha, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Oh, I know what that means. It means in the name of Allah. So then I click answer, and it gives me two options, correct and wrong. It gives me the meaning, and if you're good enough, you should as you're going along, you should start writing the meanings in the Arabic, al-ma'na. And so you can check yourself, am I correct, am I wrong? I'm going to mark myself as correct for that one. Okay, then it goes on to the next word, ar-rahim. So with ar-rahim, I'm going to say, let's say I got it wrong, I said it meant loving. And I can check the clue, but it didn't really help me. And I click on answer, and oh, it's the most merciful. So I'm going to mark myself wrong there. Okay, and the same with until all the words are finished. So al-alamin, let's say I said it meant world, but no, it's of the universe or world. And let me mark myself as wrong there. So, and then once it stops, it doesn't really tell you it's stopped. It'll come up with a blank. Now let's just see what's happened with number 2 here. Go back to sheet number 2. So as you can see, what happens is as you get things right, the memory score is increased by 1 number. But if you get it wrong, the memory score goes down. So this is -1 and -1. The reason the minus sign is on the right is because this is a right to left sheet. So really we've got to change that cell to left to right, and then you'll see it the right way around. So so if I go back to the menu and I come back a day or two later and I want to restart, re-memorize my words, so I can, again, I want to start with word number 1 and I load the sheet. It'll first load the words with the lower memory score. So as you saw the first time, it loaded Bismi, but now it loads Ar-Rahim. So basically all it does is it just orders the words and comes up with the word with the lowest negative score first. So if I answer Ar-Rahim, and I said most merciful, I get it right. Al-Alamin, I said, let's say I thought it was meant earth, and I answered it. No, I got it wrong. It means of the universe. And Bismi, I remember, is the name, so I get that right. So let's have a look at sheet 2 again. So you can see with Ar-Rahim, my score's gone back up to 0 because I got it wrong once and right once. With Bismi, I got it right twice. But with Al-Alamin, I got it wrong twice. So it's a -2 score. So that's a word I really need to start concentrating on. You can get a quick view of which words are the least memorized by click to sort words by memory level. That should put the negative numbers at the top, so you can immediately see the words you need to concentrate on. And again, if you go back to menu and I start with word number 1 by putting the number 1 here, and I start with load sheet, and again now it loads the word Al-Alamin because it's got -2 score. So this is just a very simple way of memorizing words with the flashcard system, and it just prioritizes the words that you keep getting wrong. The advantage if you use it with the Quran thing, it picks up words before the word and words after the word as the clue. So that way you've got some context. You can remember where you had met the word before. You can add your own words. So if I said, for example, bab, I wrote bab there, and I said فتح الولد الباب. Maybe I'd read that in a book. Whoops, it's a bit of a spelling mistake there. Typo. فتح الولد الباب. So the boy had opened the door, and bab is door, so I wrote door there. And now if I go back to menu and I start again with word number 1 and I load the sheet, I get Alamin. Let me say I answered that wrongly again, not doing very well. Ar-Rahim, I say I got that right. Bismi, answer that. Let's say correct. And there's Bab. I said, well, what does Bab mean? Let me check the clue. Fatah al-waladu al-baba. Aha, I think it's door. Answer door, correct. And if you look at sheet number 2 now, I've got the score 1. Okay, so you can make multiple sheets. You can just number them so that they're compatible. You can make a copy of the vocab file. You don't have to keep the name the same. If you want to keep it something separate, that's up to you. That's okay, that's not a problem. You can put it in a separate directory, that doesn't matter if you're using it for other words. But if you want to use it with the QuranTM file, you have to keep it with exactly the same name, and you've got to keep them in the same directory. So I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts this work as a simple tool that will help you learn Arabic, inshallah, and help you learn the words of the Holy Quran. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide everybody who reads the Quran to make it a part and parcel of their lives, and it almost make it like the the DNA of our character and make our characters walking Qur'ans like the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to whatever capacity we have. So Jazakallahu khairan for that. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen.